Thoughts and views of this podcast and the sole views of the curators of this podcast is not the views of the United States Postal Service.
How does he do it?
On the Route Podcast, episode 7. Yes, we are 7 episodes in now, man. We've been doing this about a month. We are making moves. We're making moves. Like we always do. I'm gonna let my brothers introduce themselves first. Let you know what's going on. To my left.
What's up, Chapter 7? This is Aaron. Let's go.
This is B Morton right here. We getting back. I keep playing with us. Get my bullshit if you want to.
Oh, God.
This is Black. We back again, episode 7. We about to get it popping. Got some good stuff for y'all. And let's get in.
And as always, I'm your low-key engineer, Rick Shine, doing my thing on the boards. Hopefully everything is coming right, sound-wise for y'all. If not, get over it. But on this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about current issues that are going on in the post office nationwide. Got a little bit of protesting, I want to say, going on.
Yes.
And we're also going to get into a little bit about ourselves and what we were doing previously before we became mail carriers. You know, everyone had a job before they had this job. You know what I mean? So we're going to get into that so you guys know a little bit more about us. And since you guys are supporting us so much, and, you know, thank you for the views and everything like that. And if you guys haven't hit that subscribe button yet on YouTube, by all means, please hit that subscribe button. Because we're giving you guys a lot of good content. Like our last episode, we had an OJI here. We're going to have more guests via the post office. And most of the people we were going to bring on this show for the post office are people that are seasoned employees for the most part. Guys that have, you know, and women that have, you know, at least 10 to 15 years plus service in the post office. So they have a lot to tell you, a lot of good advice. Especially for those new people coming in that don't really know about the job, might not be getting the best guidance. You know what I mean? So you can hear it right here on the Route Podcast on what this job is about, whether it be for carrying, for clerk work, whether you're at the window or you're in the back throwing the packages, whether you're working in the environmental technician field.
Mail handler.
You know what I mean? Well, the mail handler no longer exists.
Oh, yeah.
They made that the clerk now, which is crazy. But I'm going to see if we can actually get a person who previously did the craft that was called mail handling, just to show you guys how deep into this job we can get into. And, you know, the environmental technician part, if you don't know what that is, that's just a educated, polite way of saying janitor. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We're going to get someone like that here. We're actually going to get people from the management side, too. Just to let you guys know that we are official. That, you know, this isn't like us versus them. Like, no, this is it's the post office.
No, we're going against them.
All eyes on me.
But, you know, right now we're going to get into what we've been hearing about recently. There's been a lot of protests going on in various places about, it looks like it's mostly clerk employees for what we saw on the news, complaining about work hours and just unfair treatment.
Yeah, understaffed.
Yeah, and then I saw a few rural carriers, I think, that did some interviews that were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But who was the senator from Illinois that was talking about actually trying to create a bill that will punish people for, you know, attacking a mail carrier? Because that seems to be a thing that's happening in, like, you know, mainly Chicago for the most part, but it happens everywhere. But Chicago's been getting a lot of press about it.
Looks like his name was Dick Durbin. He said that attacking a postal carrier would cost you about 27 years. Like basically robbing
25, 27 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Because we are federal employees. Granted, I mean, we're not the FBI or the CIA or nothing like that. You know, if this was a football team, we'd be like the punter or the kicker. You know what I mean? But we're still part of the team. We still get a ring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you see the mailman, you got to remember, he has, you know, federal credentials. You just can't punch the mailman out. You just can't run down on the mail person and threaten them. It's not a smart thing to do.
I think it should be more years.
Yeah,
I
be
think
honest.
it should be excessive just about with any law, because it will make people think like, all right, I really don't want 30 years for stealing from the store. I just think it should be excessive for everything.
Yeah, because we're like the only federal employee that I know of off the top of my head that doesn't carry a weapon. You know what I mean? So we don't really have a way to defend ourselves other than mace
And a pen.
and a pen. But in the right hands of the right person, that pen could be lethal. But we'll get into that a little later when we start talking about our previous jobs. So I mean, what's y'all take on what's going on with the protesting, like from what we've seen from certain news outlets?
Well, I think a lot of the employees are, right, and a lot of their points are valid because it is a lot of work harassment. Like, they do yell at us. They do tell us to get out the building, to move faster.
Get out my building.
To,
Get off
they
my
want us
clock.
to move faster on the routes. That's why we got these scanners. But what they don't realize is everybody moves at a different pace. People are taller, people are shorter, people are bigger, people are smaller. Everybody at a different pace. We're not going to move the same. So somebody may get out early, somebody may get out late. But there's no need for the harassment. Like, they will ride up on you on a route. They would do random street ops just because. Some people will randomly walk you themselves, as meaning management. Like, I've seen them, the area manager and the station manager walk an employee together. For what reason? Like, we have the scanners that y'all say are, basically the law of the post office, and what it says and what it, the data it spits out is, what it is. But technology is never always 100%. So I think they're right. I think a lot of the things the post office is doing is wrong as far as harassment, as far as the hours, changing the routes. You're taking stuff away that don't need to be taken away. They messing it up, and it's from the top to the bottom. The way they treat their employees, the way they talk to them. Like, some people, once they hear about this job and they think it's a good job, and they get into the job and see how management treats the employees, they quit. Like, that's part of the turnover rate. And then they leave the job, then they tell other people, they're like, oh, I don't want that job. Like, they doing job fairs and all other kinds of stuff, and people are still not filling out for the job, or they'll fill out for the job and then decide they don't want it, or get in the job, quit, because how they treat people. And I think it's wrong.
From what I saw, basically, it seems like a lot of older people that basically I kind of feel like was loyal, that was kind of been there from, like, I think a lot of years. They were saying just give us equal, like, just treat us fairly. Because I think before, previous, when they were there, they felt like, well, things are changing now. Well, we're evolving, but we're the people that are here that come to work every day, probably do the work a certain way. And then you putting more on top of a person that's maybe, like, older, and it's like, well, how much more do you want me to give you? I'm going to give you 100%. You want to get 120%. And I see why they protest. But the thing is, like Black says, it's up top basically. Management come down, put it on people, then they give it to the best employee. Well, it's not me, That's the I can't do nothing about it. This is on my back. But you can't sell me a bag of boys and not think I'm not going. We all human. We all got mistakes. We go through certain things, and I feel like, all right, don't take your trauma out on me because you can't handle a discussion with your
Superior.
Superior. Like, my thing is, you work with me. Like I said before, like on the previous podcast, like, we gotta work together. And then, like, you can't tell upper management what's going on in your station. And the thing is, now you're getting a leeway, and like, well, so and so district said this, but you gotta work with me. You gotta keep things in house, and that you gotta keep your people happy. That's the common goal of anything. I have to keep my workers happy. Like I said, if you want me to keep coming back more, treat me a certain way. Treat me of not necessarily equality, but treat me like a human being. And the thing, like, man, should tell you, even like they said with CCAs or clerks, like they tell them, like, well, the shit I said before. They used to tell us on Sundays, oh, you got to do this in third. Like, oh, I don't have to be here. And that's the thing I don't understand. CCAs, now they have a leverage to the point where they can quit. And the thing is, y'all sitting here begging on hand and knees, well, please don't quit now. Y'all catering so now because they know, like Black said, it's passed down on social media to a point where you can see it and say, all right, oh, yeah, so-and-so we're here because this is messed up, jacked up. Like, they know now. This is not no more whisper down the lane. Like I said, social media is the most tool that kills out all these older things now because it has no right or wrong to the point where you're gonna expose either way. You hope you're on the right side of social media. And like I said, these older jobs that hold these older ways of doing things, it's getting exposed now. Like everything is brought to light. Eventually, you have to see that. And the thing now, people can see that now with the news and process. Like I said, that's just processing on TV. Imagine it was somebody our age that did it. Like we could put that easy on Instagram. So my dad put up there, boom, boom. It'd have been even worse than that. But this is their older people. They don't know what it's processing. Like, all right, that's cool. That's the peaceful way. But say I really want to bash you. Like you told me before, like people do stuff on Reddit and all that stuff like that. Like that stuff happens.
Yeah, so what he's pretty much saying is like, and I'm gonna speak to our district because, like we said before on previous podcasts, we work in the Philadelphia district. Our union is branch 157. Shout out to them. And our district manager right now, I believe his last name is Williamson.
Yeah, Williamson. Yeah.
So I don't know if he listens to our podcast, but maybe he might come across it. But for District Manager Williamson, I don't know how old he is. I know he's a pretty older gentleman. He's probably not social media savvy. But what he needs to understand is that the way we treat our employees is not in the shadows. It's not behind closed doors information. Mm-hmm. There's certain social media sites, like Brandon said, where people communicate with each other nationwide about the post office and their experience with the post office. And that's affecting our hiring rate, our retention rate, and everything in between. So if you were somebody thinking about getting to the post office, right? 9 times out of 10, if you're somebody that's in your 20s, you're pretty social media, computer savvy, phone savvy. Yep. So you're going to go to a social site like Reddit, which is more so a serious site. It's not really like Instagram or Facebook or one of these other sites where people play around and do memes and jokes and all that stuff. You might find it there, but it's very security wall based, meaning like if you want serious information, you'll get the serious information without the jokes. And you can go to the post office Reddit page, which I think actually was started by the post office, believe it or not, in DC. And if you actually look through the forum, you see people complaining about the job who are postal employees across the nation. And these are people that are new people that got 20 years in, 30 years in. And if you're somebody that has the time to scroll through some of these forums within the USPS Reddit page and read what people are talking about, it would make you not want this job. Mm-hmm. So I want the district manager of our district to understand that the way you treat the employees does not go unnoticed outside the job. Because people might go vent on pages like Reddit and talk about their experience, which makes new people not want this job, which is causing a problem with like the people we're protesting about in terms of the overwork load that they have because there's not enough people to help do the job. So you have to relax. You have to remember that this is a job that people do out of courtesy, believe it or not, because you don't need this job to make a living. There's other jobs that pay you pretty well to make a living. People do this job because of the prestige that it had and the namesake, because it says United States in front of it before it says Postal Service. So people feel good when they say they work for a company that represents the country. They feel like they're doing a service to their country, especially if there were people who were previously in the military.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Which is why they were always the first ones that were, asked to do this job. Because it's like, hey, you served your country, put your life on the line. Now come serve your country and not put your life on the line and make good money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So to hear people in this job that are also veterans, along with the non-veterans, talk about their experience with management and upper management and the disrespect, it's disgusting. It's disgusting, especially when it's coming from someone who put their life on the line for this country, for you to have the rights that you have as a citizen.
And the post office, they put a response out basically saying that the complaints is not based in fact. So
it's called covering it.
Or based in reality. Yeah. Based in reality. That's the exact words. But we just saw 3 different cities. I'm sure it was more, but we saw Charlotte, North Carolina,
St. Paul, Minnesota,
Tampa Bay, and they all was saying the same exact thing as far as management treating them terribly. That's the stuff we was talking about on previous podcasts too. So
Yeah, we deal with that in Philadelphia as well.
Right.
We want the bigger cities, bigger markets.
And one other thing that management does, and I'm gonna shift a little bit, the union does as well. And I was talking to a couple of my fellas over here about it yesterday. The way they treat CCAs. Now, we all here was once CCAs not too long ago, and when you come into the job as a CCA, you sign up for what it is. You sign up for the union, and you pay union dues immediately. And the problem with that is, no matter what that CCA goes through, and if they need union representation, rather be at the time we CCAs missed a scan point, or misdelivered a package, or extended your street time or office time, you'll be brought in there for the PDI, which is a pre-disciplinary interview. And, they will discuss what infraction you had and ask you a whole bunch of questions, what you could do better. And if this infraction wasn't your fault, or if it was a scanner malfunction, anything, rather, because it could say you misdelivered a package to a house next door, but you actually delivered it to the right house. So it could be a lot of things that could not be your fault. But the union would literally tell you they cannot represent you because you're in your 90-day probation.
Well, Black, no, it's something I was told, I was CCA, they told me. They said you had to show improvement. If you were struggling, you had to show improvement within 30 days or a certain amount of days where they would fire you. That was like the little tactic they would tell you. That's what somebody, I think, told me. But
that's false.
I know it's a false. I'm saying that's one of the tactics they use. They say, they told me I was in the station. They were like, oh, well, you got to pick it up. You know what I mean? I was in my first 90. They were like, well, you got to pick up between 30 days. Or the other thing they would say is, oh, we like the station. Well, we're seeing somewhere else, basically, where it's just 10 times worse if you're not getting it. I'm like, yeah, I was told that. I was told, before, if I don't pick it up or catch the pace of it, within 30 days, I can, base channel, will pick it up, your speed.
I'm like, yeah, station.
Yeah, or I send you, a bad station, you want to be here because I was at a good station, or you don't want to do this and third, well, we'll send you somewhere else. I'm like,
are you still learning? What?
Yeah, because you literally get 90 days to learn the job. That's why it's called a 90-day probation. You get 90 days to get it down, but they try to get rid of you before the 90 days. I haven't seen a lot of that happen, but just the amount of PDIs that I see CCAs have and that I've had. I had a lot of them. That wasn't my fault. I had a PDI for a day I wasn't even at work. So it's crazy.
Wow.
I ain't never heard that. That's a new one.
I was a CCA. So, and the union, like I said, would tell you they can't do anything for you because you're in your 90-day probation. And I'll be ready to tear their face off. I'm like, how can you tell me that you can't do anything for me? And I'm paying union dues the second I get paid because I signed up. So you mean to tell me 90 days is what? 3 months. So you're going to tell me that I paid 6 pays of union dues and you can't do nothing for me?
You won't get retro pay for that? You won't get retro pay back for that, or being a CCA, or that's just
No.
Wow, that's a highway route.
Look,
our union dues now is $30. At the time, it was like $25. So you mean to tell me I paid y'all what, $300, and you're telling me you can't? Well, not 300. What is that? 25 a pay. That's 50. That's 50. That's 150. So, and y'all can't do nothing for me?
Well, this is America. Parentheses, we're gonna make it hard for you.
Well, it's gonna be a smatter, dude.
So, like I said before, we're all city carriers. So when he was talking about it being a CCA, that's a city carrier assistant, which the job is to assist the regular carriers, which is what we are now, in terms of doing any open routes, where carriers are on vacation or if they called out of work, the mail still has to get done. So a CCA will actually assist the actual carriers in doing the mail. That's how that person learns how to do the job. That's how that person learns how to get their feet into the job. So when they become a regular carrier, now they can just go out and just do the mail and without wondering what they're supposed to do. In the rural areas, mainly the counties, the non-metropolitan areas, they're called RCAs, which is a rural carrier system, which is pretty much the same exact thing, except they just do it in the county. They go assist the actual rural carriers. So, I mean, the four of us are all what we call regulars now, which is like a regular carrier. We're not, assistants. We have our own routes, or we have a utility-based type route, which our boy B. Morton has, which he actually, he's the lead replacement for a carrier when they have a drop day or a day off, or when they're just not there. He'll do their route. And he has at least about 5, right? Like 5 routes.
5 on the key, yeah.
That's part of his key, which means he knows how to do 5 regular carrier routes. And he has first option in terms of picking which one of those routes he wants to do, based on, their drop days or days off. Or he's supposed to have.
You got something to say?
Management don't always do it, right?
Management don't follow up. I just say it just things are kind of favored. That's all it is. I'm gonna leave it be. I ain't gonna be
It's
angry
a lot
black
of
man.
favoritism in the station.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave angry black man that one. I'm gonna leave
No,
that one.
wait. Save it. Because we're about to get into that segment. Like we said in the beginning, we're going to talk about the jobs we had before we were in the post office and what made us want to go to the post office. This is our way of letting our loyal fans and co-workers who are listening to our pod every time we drop one. We really appreciate y'all. If you have not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the like button. And for God's sakes, comment. Like, I know most of the people watching these videos are other carriers and other people in the post office. We want to actually hear from you. We want to know what's going on.
Dialogue.
Yeah, we need dialogue, especially if you're from another state or another city, because we're really curious to see what it's like for you guys in your situation. So we're going to try to do this thing from youngest to old. So we're going to start with Aaron, who's our youngest curator on the pod.
Playboy, come on.
You know what I mean? So, Aaron, once again, tell them who you are, and then tell them, what station you at. They know you're a regular city carrier, and you just tell them,
They ain't got no station I'm at.
It's hide. Stop hiding the shadows.
Listen, I'm going to tell them what station I'm at. So
Stop hiding the shadows, Batman.
just let them know what you're doing right now, and then let them know what you did right before this job, what made you want to pick this job.
I got
The floor
you.
is yours.
I'm a regular carrier, as y'all know. I'm a utility, like Brandon Morton. You know what I mean? Before I got to this job, I had 2 jobs, and I was in school.
Damn.
Jobs.
I was in school for art. But that was taking too long, and I was like, the amount of money I'm about to take out in loans and the amount of time I'm about to spend, I might as well just get a job and start building. So what I did was I got 2 jobs. I was working at Lincoln Financial Field doing events, ushering, taking tickets. And then I also had a job building stages where I would build, for instance, the NFL draft stage in 2017 when it was in Philly. I helped put that together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's part of the reason why we won. I touched the Lombardi.
We need that again. We did it again. Yeah, I appreciate that.
But I was selling T-shirts down there too. But don't tell nobody.
But getting how he live.
Wait, you said don't tell nobody on a podcast.
T-shirts got 2 for $5.
But what else? Oh yeah, I was building stages for Beyonce concert at the Link, Kevin Hart concert at the Link, stuff like that. And then I was like, I need something more stable, more consistent. And then I talked to my mail carrier. I was like, yo, is y'all hiring? He's like, yeah, for sure. He told me the process of getting hired, and I got hired quick. So I was art school dropout. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, we all been there.
Went to the post office and started working.
So, what was the process of your hiring to the post office? What hoops did you have to jump through?
It wasn't that deep. It wasn't that bad for me. I just took the test. I got was it a B? What's the score?
Well, it goes by numbers, pretty much.
Yeah, it was close to a B score. I think 70 or something like that. And I took the test. I think a week or 2 later, they brought me in for training, like the truck training and all that other stuff, holding the bag, casing. When I was there, they said I was like the fastest caser. I was,
Okay.
I be in and out. Yep. Yeah.
In and out.
I ain't trying to deal with management. You know what I mean, I be in and out. And then that was probably about 5 days, and then I got hired, and then I started like a week or two later.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go with my man B Morton, who's the second youngest.
Man, what was I doing before I got here? I was at Coca-Cola. I was called a checker, but shout out to my guys at Coca-Cola. I know y'all going through a strike right now. Keep y'all head up right now. That's my boys though. But what was I doing? I was a checker. I was fat and overweight overnight. I was working. I'm gonna keep one with y'all. I was fat and overweight. I was eating at night. We work from 6 at night to 6 in the morning. We do checkers. I used to check out the trucks. Like I used to have like various docks and check over it. So I would like for the truck go out for the driver to look. I was the last odd for the driver see his stuff. So I had to strap in equipment. I had to strap in the soda. Everything was in like numeric order and alphabetical order. So like A1, A2, like all that stuff. So I did that. And I was checking trucks out basically. And I was like, oh, I was there I started 2012. I was about 25. And I was like, I left 2018. And I was telling my ex-girlfriend at the time, I was like, yo, I hate this job. I said, I can't do this no more. I'm like, yo, they not paying us enough. They threaten to fire my job every day.
Aren't they on strike now?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said shout out to my boys on strike. I said it earlier, yeah. But yeah, I was like, they was threatening my job tomorrow. Yeah, we don't know what's going on. Like you gotta get another job. I said, look, man, I'm done. So one of my homeboys, he's like, I know you heard you complain about like the job switch. You like, come do mail. I said, I ain't doing no mail, man. I said, what the hell I like doing mail? I'm like, nah, this ain't my style. He was like, no, just get good money, blah blah. I said, all right, look into it. Then I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, how much? What y'all pay like? He was like, well, we get paid every 2 weeks. I was like, man, I said I get paid every week, man. I said, I don't know about that, man. That's a rough transaction right there, getting paid every week. So I don't know what's going on. Like, just like, dang. So that's what I did. But like, that's what I did before I got here. And my hiring process, I filled out for the job in February and didn't hear back from them until May. Mm-hmm. I was on the verge of like, yo, forget the post office. They ain't getting back at me. I'm not worried about it. Like they playing around with me. So I don't know what's going on. Like they playing around my process. I'm like, yo, forget the post office. I ain't here. Blah blah. And then I checked my email. Like Rick said, check my junk mail. They like, well, come in. So I came in. Y'all wanna know the funny thing is when I did my process, right? I came in with a suit, right? So you know how they had you know how you no, I'm saying you know how you carry the mail right, the bag. Nigga, I'm here with a suit on, with a satchel on, and going through training with shoes on, bro.
Oh, tell me you got a picture of that.
I got a picture of myself. As a matter of fact, I sent it to you. I got a picture of myself in the suit, but I couldn't take a video of it. But I was with the joint like this, sweating. I'm like, yo, I like, what the hell I'm doing with this mailbag on my shoulder? I'm like, yo, why I ain't say come to prepare for the test? This wasn't part. I'm like, I think it's a regular interview. It's not. And it was crazy. Like that was the process. Like that's how I got here. Like I was just like, my mom was like, well, you need to fill another job. I'm tired of you complaining. Coca-Cola in it, just go get another job. Quit. I'm like, all right, then I quit. That's why I got here.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the second oldest person, my man Black.
I just filled out for the job.
Yo, this boy.
Come on, it's more to it than that, brother. Come on,
man.
Well, how I got here.
You gonna tell the whole story, Black?
But the truth, nothing but the
She was
truth.
doing at your job.
Mm-hmm. Give you all the cliff.
All right, selling parts. selling parts of it. Oh man.
It was a long and stormy night.
Yeah.
No,
Oh my God.
I was working at Einstein Hospital as a transport escort.
Einstein.
The job was to move patients from room to room, ICU tests, and no, they went out. But we was moving people from room to room, tests, if they were leaving, if they were being discharged, and it was an alright job. They paid decent. You had to meet a quota every night. You had to move at least 14 to 20 patients.
Damn.
So, and it was sometimes tough because sometimes you get heavier patients. So if you're taking a patient to a test and they're big, you got to move them from either wheelchair, stretcher to bed, and there's some heavy dudes. And sometimes the people down there don't help you. So I did that for from like '08 till like 2014. And I just couldn't really do the job because the heavy lifting, the no assistance, it started to wear and tear on my body. Because some of them dudes, I had a couple people fall on me.
Damn.
And like not fall on the floor, I'm talking literally fall on me.
Damn.
Damn,
That's terrible. Yeah.
One dude was the size of like an ape. This dude was like 6'3", 6'4", and then this boy was huge. Shoulders, arms, every boom, fell.
Jeez.
So
got pancake.
yeah, because they said he was. They had the terms in the hospital called walkie-talkie, which means he could walk and talk, meaning he's coherent. And that's what they told me. So I assumed he was being able to walk and talk. So he was in a wheelchair. And when we got back to his room, he stood up out the wheelchair. I helped him up, and he fell forward on me. So a little while after that, I ended up leaving the job, and I started working at a school in Plymouth Meeting called Shipley. And there I was basically a janitor. And I was basically getting paid the same amount of money, but I had every weekend off. I needed that.
Okay.
We gonna tell the real. Black was moving bodies, dead bodies. He was moving drugs through dead bodies.
Back of the hearse. Back of the hearse. He moving the body.
Like Johnny Sabia.
Oh my God.
Well, when I was at Einstein, I was stacking bodies, and when patients would pass, and after the families would see them, and we had to move them out of the rooms, I had to move them to the morgue. And the first time I did it, scared the shit out of me.
Wow.
The patient took his last breath while he was with me.
Oh no.
I know about that, man.
That's
So-
conscious.
Like I said, after that, I went to Shipley, and I was a janitor basically. That literally lasted about 3 months. And I filled out for the post office. I filled out in about April, May, and I went through the process, filling out, doing the online assessment, taking the test. That process took about a month, and then I did my orientation in the July of 2015, and I was, on the street with my OJI by August 1st, 2015. And,
Okay.
the job is, not that bad.
Why you rubbing your hands, Mr. B.
We
Morgan?
save the best for last.
What is he talking about?
You ain't say who's next, man. You ain't say
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this one.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
Ladies and gentlemen.
yo,
Ladies and gentlemen.
being that I'm the oldest person, I'm the one that's going last. So
How old are you?
I'm turning 40 in like another week, I want to say.
All right, wrap it up for my brother, man. 40. Crossing that bridge.
You know what I mean?
Damn.
You old.
Before I had this job, I worked at a company called St. Moritz Security. I had about 9 years of experience there. So I'll be tied with that job this November. I'll be at the post office for 9 years.
Senior citizen.
I started that job in Jersey, originally where I'm from, in Atlantic City. And then I transferred to Philadelphia because, the job is everywhere pretty much. And the job had a contract with the PLCB, which is the Pennsylvania Licensing Liquor Community Liquor Board, excuse me. So, hold on. Yeah, so, it's pretty much, in Pennsylvania, they have the government and the state controls the liquor company here. Mm-hmm. Apparently, in Jersey is independent. You have to get a license, everything like that. But here, when it comes to selling spirits and wine, you have to actually have it's controlled by the actual state. So my security company had a contract with the stores in the PLCB called Wine and Spirit. So I was stationed at a bunch of different stores. 46 in Lancaster, 52nd in Lancaster. If you're from Philadelphia, you're familiar with these areas. I believe it was the one also on 12th in Walnut, and then the one I spent the most time at was at 2nd in Girard. And so pretty much my job was just like making sure no one stole out of the store. You know what I mean? Try to keep the loss prevention rate low. And I was very good at my job. At that point, actually keeping it low. Yes, Brandon.
I got a question. So, brother, you got to get more detail into the job, brother. Like you're not going flim flam finagle.
I'm gonna get into it, sir.
Don't finagle now.
I want to get into it, sir.
All right, okay.
This On the Route podcast, where we keep it real.
Okay, all right.
We keep it real.
All right. And
if you have not subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe, because you're not gonna get nothing realer from the post office than On the Route podcast. I assure you.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed.
So, when I was working for St. Moritz, my job was to work 12 hours. I used to work 12 hours a day. So, if you're a mail carrier or a clerk, you understand that we work like that normally. So I was already kind of accustomed to doing that, being on my feet for that long. So at this job, I came up with a theory in my head that I think, worked out pretty well. And then, it was like, they really wanted you just to stand there and kind of like just report what's going on. If someone tried to steal, make a log of it and try to keep it, on file. But me, I said, look, sadly to say, people are stealing literally every 20, 30, 40 minutes in these stores.
Wow.
So I have to do something different to make my job easier. Because the whole point is to make my job easier and to make the people who work in the actual liquor store job easier. Because every time someone steals, you got to report it. A cop comes, he asks questions, description, blah, 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 blah. So I said, what can I do to make my job easier and make their job easier? So previously, before I had this job working at St. Moritz, I used to be a bouncer at a nightclub in Atlantic City. It was actually a dual nightclub. It was called Deja Vu, and you also had Studio 6 and Club True. So excuse me, it's Club True and Studio 6. So, I pretty much carried my bouncer mentality over to this job. And I felt like if I actually handled the situation hands-on, it would decrease the less of loss that would happen with the store. So I actually talked to the actual store manager first to see what they, were they cool with this before I decided to execute myself. And I explained to him, my theory about what would happen, blah, blah, blah. And the manager, she was like, all right, well, hey, let's give it a shot. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. As long as, the store doesn't get messed up, nothing gets broken, blah, blah, blah. I said, all right, cool, I got you. So I started being more hands-on with the people that were stealing.
Explain hands-on.
Debo.
Yeah, hands-on meaning the way a bouncer is hands-on. So, we had cameras in the store. And I'm not ashamed to admit this. Like I said, it's On the Route podcast, where we keep it real with y'all. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. You're not going to get real stuff from any other Postal podcast. So I would basically profile a person based on how they acted when they came into the store. And then I would just walk over to the security room and just watch them on the camera. And about 90% of the time, I was accurate. Wow. Because the person would definitely look around, see where I'm at. They don't see me anywhere. They don't see anybody looking. Here they go stuffing bottles under their jacket. Yeah. I had one individual, just a quick story. I literally watched him stack 13 Grey Goose bottles into his clothing. This is during the wintertime, so he had like a winter overcoat on, baggy jeans. I watched him put all 13 bottles in his body.
Damn.
Had the manager come in the office real quick, and we just sat there and we watched him. I said, look at him. I'm like, he got 2 on his arm on the left, 2 on the right arm. He's got 2 on the left leg, 2 on the right leg, 1 in the back pocket on the left, 1 in the back pocket on the right. We waited. We actually waited for him to finish. I want to see how many bottles he could actually put in there. And then me and another employee cornered him over there by the store, and we made him strip. Yeah. We made him take every single bottle off of him, and we pretty much embarrassed him. And then I made him stand in the corner like he was 7 years old until the cops got there.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Because I thought it was funny to make the person think that they were going to get away with what they were doing and then catch them. And then a lot of times, here's the sad part about it too. A lot of the times, the person will pull a wad of money out of their pocket and say, I got money, I was about to pay for this. No, you wasn't. I saw you stashing it in your body, in your person.
Yeah.
And let me put this out here. For people that live in Philadelphia, homeless people are not usually the people that steal. Because I watched numerous times through the 9 years that I worked at this job, a homeless person would stand outside the job and beg for change and beg for, money or whatever, panhandle, so they have enough money to go into our store and buy what they wanted, which was Wild Irish Rose or Taylor's Port, one of the cheaper, wines. They would stand out there for 4, 5, 6 hours if it took to get the money to go in and buy what they wanted. Meanwhile, a person with a job or a car would go in there and try to steal. You know what I mean? So I didn't look at a homeless person like a thief because I saw what it was.
That's wild.
And that's crazy, right? You would think someone that was homeless would try to steal because they don't have anything. No, they're actually trying to work up the money to get it. Meanwhile, a person with a job is trying to steal from you. Because when they get caught, they're trying to tell you how much money they got in their pocket. I got this, I got that. Well, then why didn't you pay for it? Why did you put it under your jacket? Why is it in your pants? Why is it in your purse? Ladies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a few times, some people try to act like they didn't have what they had on them, even though I watched them on the camera. So I had to get a little touchy-feely. And I had to take it from them. And I had to forcibly remove them out of the store. A couple people got pancaked. A couple people got thrown. But that's just how it was.
So you saying you Uncle Phil a lot of people? You Uncle Phil a lot of people?
Yeah, I definitely Jazzy Jeff a couple people out the store.
So,
And at the Second and Girard store, to be exact, it got so crazy with me tossing people out of the store and roughing people up that not only did the theft go down about 95%, because, it happened on my days off, obviously, because, my coworker who might be replacing me that day is not that forthcoming the way I am.
or physically imposing.
Yeah, that as well. You know what I mean? Like, the theft of the other stores on the block of Second and Girard went down, which kind of told me that, okay, everybody's getting robbed by the same people. I had actual store owners, independent store owners come in our store like, yo, like, thank you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? They're like, nah, like, such and such, I ain't seen him around here in a couple weeks. He was always stealing clothes out of my store all the time, blah, 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 blah. And he got to the point where the bouncers at the Saint, at the corner of Second and Girard over there, right by the L stop. If you've ever been to the Saint, check it out. It's a great bar. The bouncers in there was like, yo, Rick, yeah, you doing a great job. We see what you're doing up there, up the block, blood. You know what I mean? Like, you handling your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, they recognized, like, the theft was going down everywhere on that street because I just wasn't having that. You know what I mean? I treated you pretty much. I caught you violating.
Was it safe to say that you was Luke Cage at that block, brother? You trying to say?
I wouldn't say I was Luke Cage, as I'm not bulletproof, obviously.
But I'm just saying that theory. I mean,
but in North End Liberties, between around the time of 2011 to 2014, when I finally got into the post office, I had Second and Girard on smash. In terms of like,
come in my store.
If you were panhandling, you didn't come over there no more. Because if I caught you, yeah, especially if you was a man, if I caught you, yeah, you caught a bad one, so to speak.
He was hurting people.
So, at that point, I got kind of tired because they were only paying me like $12.50 an hour. You know what I mean? Even though I didn't work that hard, because once I imposed my will on that area for about a good 2 months, I didn't have to do anything after that. It got to the point where when I was in the post office as a CCA, I had to actually do mail around there on an Amazon Sunday. I had to do mail and packages. And I had another guy with me, and I was telling him the same story I'm telling you guys now about how I used to work around this area. So I said, let me stop by the old store, say what's up to my old coworkers, blah, 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 and say, shoot the breeze with them on my break. So we went through, same managers there. Like, hey, how you doing? Hey, Rick. They just happy to see me. Everybody, we all rapping and talking it up. And a couple guys walked into the store. And they, we all look, because, naturally, you're going to look when you see people coming to the store. We all look. They looked at me, and they turned around and walked right back out.
Yo, well, I see.
And my coworker at the time, other CCA, he thought he might have thought I probably was just like gassing it when I was telling him the stuff I was doing at my old job. But when he saw them look at me and just turn around and walk right out the store, he was like, "Yo, you really had shown on smash." Like, and then the manager laughed and she said, "Oh, you still got it."
Oh my God.
So that was pretty funny, but I got tired of it at a certain point. Because I remember Kerry came in the store one time, and I was asking him, like, yo, my man, what's it like being a mailman? You know, because where I'm from at the time, I never saw a black person do the actual mail. So it never crossed my mind to even do that job. Because, you know, when you don't see yourself doing something, you don't think about it that way. You know what I mean? Like, so he was just like, oh, yeah, man, we hiring all the time. You know, just try it out, blah, 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 blah. And it's a lot of hard work. You're gonna be on your feet for some long hours. And I'm like, well, I'm already on my feet for long hours already. So what's the difference? Like, you know what I mean? So I tried out for that job. You know, I filled out the application, to get the job. And like I said on the previous podcast, it comes to the spam sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I had found a job on usajobs.gov. That's how I found it. And I found another job that I applied for too. Because, you know, I'm just about getting work done and trying to get paid to do a good job. So the funny thing about it is I applied for the post office, right, as a carrier. I was trying to be a clerk, believe it or not, but I didn't see any job listing for the clerk. You know what I mean? So I applied for the carrier job, city carrier job in Philadelphia. And then I applied for, because I already had like 10 years experience with security. I applied for a private security company that was, they had a detail assignment in Afghanistan. And it was armed security, and they were going to pay me like $110,000. You know what I mean? Like to work over there. So I applied for that job too on usajobs.gov. You know, if you're looking for a job, if you're a veteran or somebody that's not a veteran and you're familiar with that type of service, usajobs.gov is a place where you can find a lot of good jobs. And believe it or not, the private security job hit me back first. So I went to that interview. The guy asked me, was I a veteran? Because he assumed I was one because I went out for the job. And I told him, no, I actually was never a veteran. My father was, my grandfather was, my uncle. On both sides of my family, I had uncles that did it. And I'm like, me personally, nah. I was playing sports. I went to college, et cetera, et cetera. So he was like, all right, well, why you trying out for this job? I'm like, so I told him about the experience that I had working at the casinos in Atlantic City, working as a bouncer, and then working, with St. Moritz. He was just like, all right, well, you definitely the type of person we're looking for. So, about a week later, he sent me an email to my actual email, not the spam, where I could actually see it. And he said, if you want the job, it's yours. You know what I mean? And I realized like probably a couple days later that I missed the test date for the post office. So I had to wait 6 months to take it again. So I was like, all right, like, man, F it. I'm just going to, I guess, go to Afghanistan and do this job for a year for like 100 racks or whatever. And of course, I had a girlfriend at the time who's now my wife. She was just like, nah, I think you should just wait for the post office thing. Like, give it a chance, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, they about to pay me $110,000, like, to do this job for a year. And I might get another contract if I handle my business the way I handle my business with my previous job. And this job, for people that are not familiar, this was a job where I was stationed somewhere in Afghanistan where it was a private sector that worked in conjunction with the United States military. But we were not under the jurisdiction of the military. So I didn't wear fatigues. I wore like a black, it would have been like a black, SWAT team type of uniform, armed with a sidearm and a rifle machine gun. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing from what I can't tell you guys exactly all the details about it, but I was, I would have been, put in a position where I had to protect certain valuable assets that belong to this private company that they were licensed to help. And if someone violated a certain feet or perimeter that we were actually protecting, we had to detain them or quote unquote execute them if they came, violently. Wow. So the job was a job that was asking you to kill. You know what I mean? And like I said, they were paying me $110,000. I'm from an environment where I was involved in a few things that you got forced to do. You know what I mean? Like, because you had to protect yourself. So I was okay with that. You know what I mean? If I had to put somebody down, I was okay with that, if that's part of my job.
I'm not okay with that.
I was
So I was fully prepared to take this job because that would have been the most money I made in my life. You know what I mean? And my girlfriend, who's now my wife, told me to give the post office a chance because I was already thinking like, this is kind of jinky. How they gonna send my test date to the spam? And the security company sent my joint to the regular email. Already the post office was looking nutty.
Yeah.
Behind one.
But you know how women are. I trusted her judgment because previously before that she gave me some advice and I listened to her, and that's why I was even able to get this postal job to begin with. You know what I mean? So I waited the 6 months, which, like I told you guys in the previous episode, you pay for that when you miss that test date. You definitely pay for that. You don't see it right away, but once you become a regular and you got to pick overtime and you're trying to do vacation time and all that stuff, and you got that guy, I'm not picking on him, you got that guy that's 1 month in front of you, you know what I mean, that you know you would have been in front of if you actually would have actually been there when you're supposed to been there. It kicks you in the butt. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much how I got into the post office. I pretty much I turned down, you know, a military type job to do mail. Because, you know, delivering mail and killing people was, you know, it's not easy. It's, you know, it's kind of easy to make that decision, I guess.
Man,
you know? It's better to do mail than kill a person, I guess. You know what I mean? So
to do mail.
You know, so even though I haven't made $100,000 yet in the post office, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. Well, I'm sure it's coming.
I'm pretty sure you made more than that since you've been in the post office, but not
absolutely.
Not in a single year.
Yeah, not in a single year. Yeah. But yeah, so you know, just give you guys perspective on that's pretty much how all of us kind of what we were doing before we got in the post office. And I have to say, I think I speak for all of us when I say, you know, it was a pretty good decision. You know what I mean, as far as like the lifestyle in terms of how much money we make.
Yeah.
And how we're able to provide for our families and help our friends and just, you know, upgrade our life. And, you know, I mean, I know some of my brothers, we travel a lot. You know, we go to places that we probably didn't think we would ever go to and actually come back afterwards and have money still left over. Like we're not breaking the bank to go to these places. You know what I mean? And I think that's how we're gonna probably end this episode. You know what I mean? Just talking about, you know, the post office.
Yeah.
We're gonna save y'all on the sports thing. You know what I mean? And the social media topics for this one. You know what I mean? But if, like I said before, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please, by all means, subscribe on YouTube. We need the subscriptions. Because a lot of people been asking us, when you guys gonna start doing some video? When you guys gonna start putting... I'll tell you what. We're at about, 83 subscriptions right now? And we've been doing this podcast for a month. We're at 83 subscriptions.
A month, exactly.
a month has been.
Yeah. If we can get 500 subscriptions...
Oh, make it full. Make it full.
No. Listen.
No. Make it full.
We have a video that has more than 500 views. Right. So that's a bunch of people that have watched our stuff. Right. We're averaging around about 200 per episode, give or take. Yeah. So if we can get 500 subscriptions, we will start taping these episodes so you can actually see us in real time talking, doing what we do. Because if you want us to, I guess, upgrade, you got to show us that you're committed.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to show us that you're committed. Because this is the On the Route podcast. We're the only podcast where we give you the real stuff. It's not cookie cutter. It's not that dry, controlled by the system type situation where they're being told what to tell you. This is coming straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, these are experiences too.
It's our experiences. It's authentic. We just had a on-the-job instructor here. We're going to have people in management come here and talk about the management aspect, how it's supposed to be done. We're going to have someone from the clerk craft come here. We're going to have an environmental technician, aka janitor, come here and tell you about their craft. We're going to have probably a former mail handler when we had mail handlers. Talk about their situation.
The LV trainer.
We're going to have the vehicle trainers, the ones who teach you how to drive and their experience. We're going to have somebody from VMF come through. You know what I mean? And believe it or not, I'm giving this up a little early because I'm trying to get y'all to subscribe. Seriously. We are going to actually have, it might be for maybe about a couple minutes, probably not too long, but we're going to actually have a mail carrier from another country who does our job in another country tell you their perspective on how they do their job in their country. So you can actually compare how the United States Postal Service is to another country that has a mail system. Mm-hmm. No other podcast is giving you that. Mm-hmm. No other podcast can make that probably happen or wants to even invest the money to make that happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. So hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you like it. And please comment. That's the most important thing. I want to hear from you guys.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we don't want yes men. We want real people to talk. Mm-hmm. If you have some information that you think is valuable, Don't hold it to yourself.
Appreciate, brother. Appreciate it.
If you have information that is valuable that you think people need to know that work in our job, comment the information. Don't redline people. You know what I mean? Like, don't go tell us individually about, hey, I think you guys should have said, oh, well, that's great. Say it in the comments.
Believe that.
Say it in the comments. Like, don't be the guy that works in the post office that has a street named after itself and not give us the information. Give us the information.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, don't be an underachiever. Be an overachiever. Because there are people in this job that need to know these things that you might know that can help them. So why not help them? That's what this is about, right? It's like us helping each other as individuals.
Yep. Passing on information.
Yeah, like passing on the information. How we sort of progress as a country, as a society, if we know things, we don't pass things on to each other.
And the people that can't do it or won't do it, what do we call them?
Hood booger.
Hood booger.
Oh, we got a little bit of time for the hood booger today, real quick.
Oh, of course, yeah, sure.
I mean, you think you got the first one, Rick? I mean, I don't know anybody got the hood booger today on their route. I mean, we got some.
Well, we had a situation at our station. Well, not at our station, but we were at work, and we took our 10-minute break at the station. You know, you're allowed 2 10s alongside your 30. If you're a city carrier, I don't know what you rural guys do, but by all means, if you have 2 10s and a 30, if you're a rural carrier, comment and tell us. So we're taking our break, a 10-minute, and we went to get some refreshments, and there was an individual harassing a woman who was on my route. Her son actually is a mail carrier as well, and I don't know what he was screaming to her about, but she was just trying to get away from him, trying to come, do what she had to do. And he called her the N-word, the N-word that ends in the ER. And she was a white woman, so I was kind of confused.
Oh, man.
But I reverted back to my previous job mindset, and I handed my coworker
Luke Cage.
my glasses, and I proceeded to talk to the gentleman. And I told him, I think it'd be best if you go ahead about your business. And, he politely realized that I was serious, realized I wasn't playing, and he paraded away like he's supposed to. So I like to call that a hood booger situation.
Well, I mean, for me, I think all three of us helped the lady. It's a lady at an apartment building, right? I had to. It's been on my mind too long. Oh, I can't hold this back. Y'all know how I look, man. Y'all know how I am. Look, man. I think it was Black. Who told? I think it was a previous gentleman.
Cassidy.
No, it was Ball was basically like some lady over in the building, blah blah blah. She a little slow. She gonna ask you for mail. I said, nah, all right, whatever. I think Rick, was you the first one to go over there? All three of us. I think you was the first one to go over there.
Yeah, I ran into the lady once. Nice lady, but I think she waits for the mail.
Yeah, and what she asked for? She says, "Oh, you got any mail for 8485? Email for 8485?" I said, "Oh man."
She collects 2 addresses.
Yes, the thing is, it's like I said, like Rick said, we all mail carriers. We all got little stuff we do. So the three of us, Aaron knows too, but we all got a game basically with this, right? So we be talking on the phone, right? We'll talk to a quote unquote dude. We'll say something like, "Yo, I'm going there. Don't say nothing." So we got a game like we go in stuff mode. We go like Snake. So I go in there one time. I'm like, "Yo, I'm 1-0. I'm undefeated. I ain't get caught yet." So I go in the next time. Rick over in my ear, it's like, "Yo, man, you know you'll get caught." I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna get caught. Like, good. I go in there, slip in there, open a cluster box. She hear the door open. "Hey, young man, got email for 8485?" I said, "Nah, Lee, I got a day." She said, "Okay." I said, "So you got the Philly shirt?" "Yeah, I'm a Phillies fan." I said, "All right, cool." So, Brother Rick, how did she catch you, Brother Rick?
So what he's saying is, to all the other mail carriers out there,
hey man, dude, I'm sorry.
We definitely need to hear from y'all about this. Do you have a person or an individual on your route that you try to avoid
or dodge
while you're doing the mail? Because they just they do time, time practice work stuff. Like, meaning where like they hold you up like crazy. Because they want to have a long conversation with you. You're just trying to get out of there. Mm-hmm. If you have an individual on your route that you purposely try to avoid, like you try to be a ninja about how you do your job. Like you try to put the mail in there and just disappear like smoke. Comment below and tell us. Because we want to hear, because this is hilarious. Because this lady catches everybody on this route. I don't know what she's doing, but when you hit that code and you buzz yourself in, she waits to hear whether you go up the stairs, which means that you're someone who lives there, or she hears those boxes open because you got that 266 key. Women in Philly is a 266 key, but it's the key the master key that opens up the cluster boxes. And when she hears the box open, that key, she comes right outside. Mail for 8485? And then she wants to talk to you about everything in the world while you're trying to do the mail.
Hey, I better talk to her at least. Stop playing.
Nah, I just fast talk her. I don't know how to beat her. I fast talk. Like, all right, cool.
Don't treat her like that.
I fast talk her, but no, bro. Look.
What y'all trying to say is she's a hood booger.
She's not no hood booger.
She annoying booger. She's
a
an annoying booger.
She's a nice lady, but she doesn't have any friends, so the mail person is her friend.
Well, I think she got a caretaker. I told her I think she has a caretaker. I'm like, the thing is, when I was previously over there, the two black ladies was like, yo, you know she out here. I'm like, huh? He like, yo, she know she out here. I'm like, what? She like, look, she in the balcony. I'm like, I said, she like, you better be quiet. I said, she hear you. I'm like, huh? She hear you. I said, oh. I'm
Y'all
like,
act like she Jeepers Creepers. Like,
so you lucky you ain't back over here. Look, I want you to come back over one day just to see how annoying this lady is. She catch you in the conversation. You be like, yo. And then it be on your overtime too. It's the thing. You be like, I don't want to hear this. Like, let me be. Let me be. She be over here. She catch you. Did she catch you, Black?
Yeah, she got me.
Well, I mean, like I said before, man, on the Route Podcast, we give you the real, coming straight from the horse's mouth, carriers out here on the streets. And we're going to have people from different crafts come in here and tell you exactly what's going on with them and their situation, give you advice on how to maneuver through their craft. Mm-hmm. If you like the pod, please, by all means, follow us on Instagram, on the Route Podcast. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Mm-hmm. That subscribe button. Mm-hmm. Hit the like button. And comment. And let us know what you think and what you feel.
Oh, you want to tell them something else too? We about to, you know what I mean? About to go.
Oh, well, they'll find out about that. They'll find out about that.
Just let them know what's coming.
Just keep track on the reels on IG. You see what's going on the Route Podcast. You'll figure out exactly what we got coming for you guys. We want to keep doing this thing because we see the love and the support from our fellow employees and the people who respect our job and our profession. And as always, let my brothers tell you what they gotta say before we roll up out of here.
Yeah, this is Aaron from On the Route Podcast. Thanks for listening to episode 7, and we out.
Let's be more than just glad to do this with my brothers, man. Always, like I said, it's something I ain't picturing myself doing, but it's gonna be something classic, something to remember. People will be talking about us in history. I believe that.
And this is Black. Once again, I always have fun with these fellas, man. And, we love doing this on the Route Podcast. And we'll see you in episode 8.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And as always, I'm your engineer, Rick Sean, staying low key, telling you guys out there to be safe. And to my fellow carriers, be safe on the route.
You tossing out hood boogers every